you.
Hi guys, how are you guys this morning?
Good.
So we did the Charlie's Angels for our group project, and I'm Lauren.
I'm Kara.
Who's that?
And I'm Rachel. So we did, obviously, Charlie's Angels, and it's 3 women that work for a mysterious guy named Charlie that's never shown, so it's just all through like a little voice box. So he never really comes in part of the movie, just his voice. And they spend their time catching the bad guys as he tells the angels as who the bad guys are. So they base the whole movie off of kind of like what he tells them to do, and then they kind of form their own little leadership in their group to decide in what ways they want to catch them. And well, they're a group, and then Charlie's also part of the group, so it's just kind of 2 in 1. And his life is put into danger as if they have to complete a mission, because if they don't, then he kind of dies. So yeah, we chose this movie because they work really good in they work really good in a group, because they all have to come together and decide what the best way they have to decide what the best way is to catch the bad guys. So if one way is not going to work, they all have their little special traits that they know works best, how to kind of catch. I don't know what the right word is. So they have their own little special qualities. This movie is relevant to groups because if one person's not an asset to the group, then it kind of falls apart. So, and Charlie leads them to a certain extent because he's never really like in the movie, so they have to decide a certain way to like lead themselves rather than having just a little voice out of the box lead them. So.
Okay, so as previously mentioned before, our book defines a group made up of 3 or more, usually 3 to 5, a small collection of people who interact with each other face to face over time in order to reach goals. So examples from the movie would be the Angels and their interactions with Bosley and their interactions with Charlie. And although Charlie's never shown face to face, we include them in the group because he is there and he is part of the group, because without him, they wouldn't be doing anything.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
Dylan, Alex, Natalie, I hope you're rested and ready for your next assignment. Meet Eric Knox, a brilliant engineer and the founder of Knox Technologies, an up-and-coming communication software company. Last night, Knox was kidnapped, and his voice identification software was stolen.
Who's the lady left behind?
Vivian Ward, she's the president of Knox Technologies.
Oh, she did it.
I guess we can all go home then.
Angels, meet Vivian Wood, our new client.
Okay, so as shown there, that's kind of how Charlie gives his rundown every time, like what their job is. And their group goals was to accomplish their assignment before Charlie is killed, because later on in the movie you find out that Knox is actually a bad guy, and he kind of set this whole thing up to find Charlie and to kill Charlie. And they must find Knox and his voice identification software by going undercover and doing all these things to find him and to accomplish the task at hand. And it's important to remember that Charlie gives the girls tasks to accomplish, and he doesn't have complete control over the girls, though. They each have their own jobs and tasks that they have to do individually.
Okay, so within the group, we went ahead and separated it by roles. So here we have Dylan. She's one of the angels. Her basic task within the assignment is to watch Knox and kind of protect him. So kind of in the movie, the way that she kind of does that to get his attention to actually stay with her is to kind of put off like a I'm interested in you kind of vibe, so she kind of flirts with him a little bit to get him to actually stay around her so he's not fishing for what the other angels are doing or trying to figure out what's going on. So that's pretty much her role in the assignment.
And this is Alex. She's the second angel. And before becoming an angel, Alex was a horseback rider and an astronaut. And in her normal life, she tells everyone that she's a bikini waxer because being an angel is almost top secret, kind of being part of like the CIA. And her role as an angel in this certain mission was to go undercover to distract the bad guy named Corin. Her undercover role was to be his masseuse, so Natalie could do her part. And Alex plays a very informal role. She is mainly an information seeker. And then this is Natalie. She was the one who does most of the sneaky work. While Alex distracts, Natalie is the one who breaks into the safe, and that holds a very important information software that is wanted. Since she then places a device to where they can retrieve the software that they need. And Natalie's main role is also informal, but she relates more to a supporter, which is part of the social rules, and she does most of the dirty work.
And then we had Charlie. So, basically he's never seen in the movie, so anytime we have Charlie, it's just a voice out of a box. But we did put him as part of the group because he's kind of like the leader of the group. He's also the moderator, so this group is actually a perfect example of a panel discussion, which is one of the problem strategies because we do have a moderator here in this situation. Also, I did want to touch base on Bosley. He still is a part of the group as well. They kind of use him as like a middleman or like the distraction for them to do their assignment as well. There's a scene in the movie where they actually use him as a distraction with Corin so they can actually figure out who this tall, skinny guy is. That's actually how they refer to him in the movie. But he's actually one of the bad guys, so they used Bosley as a distraction there. So he is actually a part of the group as well, so I did want to add him in there as well.
There could be a lot of dangers in a group, and sometimes when you're like the underload is you just have the basic information, so it's just you get what you need and that's it. And then when you have an overload, you kind of are ambushed with all this information, and you have to kind of process it and what ways you want to like take part in it or assign roles and all this. They can base all their assumptions off of Charlie, so believing Knox is the good guy, you have a lot of information, but sometimes it's not the right information about the right person, and if it's coming from like a trusted source, then you assume you're going to believe it.
Okay, so maintaining a positive relationship between the angels. They have basic skills like they look after each other and call each other sisters, and they really care for each other. For example, in one scene, they were undercover at a bar, and even though they were on a mission, a guy was flirting with one of the angels, Natalie, and he just like kept like flirting with her, and she's like kind of pushing him away, and the other sisters or angels were like, go flirt with him, go over there, go talk to him. And so they really did care about her and cared about her interests. And building cohesiveness, their whole life is centered around being Charlie's angel. And it's their job, and they know that if they have to come together to perform the job that they have, and And they do respect each other's separate lives because it is so secret. Like we mentioned earlier, it's kind of like the CIA where it's not very talked about. And they respect each other's private time also. Like they just always are there for each other, even if they know that they could do anything they could help. And also whenever a call happens from Charlie, they drop everything and go immediately to find out what their next mission is. And they know that it kind of brings a bond together because they each have to drop so many things.
And then power also plays into their group as a whole because the angels showed two different types, which is the coercive, and that mainly comes from threat. And all of the tasks that the angels are assigned to, they come with threat one way or another, whoever they're after. And then the second type they relate to is the referent, which means or comes from respect. And all the assignments the angels have to do, they never complain. They always respect what Charlie has to say and do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Alrighty, so here at this time we're going to go ahead and show you just a little bit of a clip of the movie. And it's kind of like actually it is like the main fighting scene. And we're just going to go ahead and show you a clip of it. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. Okay, so within this clip, I did want to go ahead and mention that we did show or see a lot of nonverbals. And I did want to go ahead and and I know that was in chapter 6, but I did want to go ahead and bring that in because I believe it is a huge part in group work as well. Basically, the one that you saw was them nodding their heads, so that's an example of substituting because they're giving like, yeah, you know, let's go do this by just nodding their heads, and then of course they went ahead and basically beat up that guy. So, in conclusion, with us going through all the connections here between the chapter and the movie, and knowing towards the end of the movie, they're pretty much set up because they were there to protect Knox, because they had thought that his information was stolen, but yet he was actually the bad guy. So, knowing that, we just wanted to ask the class if there is anything, well, I guess if you guys have seen the movie, if there is anything that you think they could have done better so they didn't run into that problem.
Not gotten so close to their target.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then, all in all, any questions?